like to call this meeting back into session. Madam Clerk, would you please reestablish a quorum?
Thank you. Matt Conant. Here. Nick Avdis.
Here.
Tom Barandis.
Here.
Brian Holloway. Here. Cyril Shaw. Here. Angelique Ashby. Jeff Harris.
Here.
Rick Jennings. Here. Sue Frost. Here. Don Natoli. Here. Susan Peters. Here. Patrick Kennedy. Here. Lisa Nava. Here. You do have a quorum.
Great.
We'll report out on closed session, Government Code Section 54956.8, Conference with Real Property Negotiators regarding property at 460A Garden Highway, Sacramento, California. Negotiating party Salvatore Marino and Larry Bracco. Property at 460B Garden Highway, Sacramento, California. Negotiating party Larry Bracco and Teresa Consuelo Bracco. Property at 1016 Azusa Street, Sacramento, California. Negotiating party Salvatore Marino, Larry Bracco, and Teresa Consuelo Bracco. Property at 1024 Azusa Street, Sacramento, California. Negotiating party Salvatore Marino. Under negotiation are price and terms of payment.
These were informational items. No action was taken.
Please call the first item, or the next item.
The Executive Director's Report for November 15th, 2018.
Good afternoon, Chair Avdis, members of the board. Just want to talk a little bit about a lot of activities going on as we're trying to work closely with the Corps on getting going on the supplemental emergency appropriations. So I wanted to hit some of the highlights that we've got going there. We've been working closely with the state and the district on developing a schedule. The district has to send their locked-in schedule up to division and headquarters tomorrow. Their parameters were they have to get construction started in 2019 and they have to be complete in 2024. At least that's the goal. So there'll be some revisions to that after headquarters and division look at it, I'm sure. So hopefully early in 2016 we'll have a schedule that we can then share with the board and share with the public for both the American River Common Futures Work Award of 2016 and for the dam raise. So along those lines, on December 11th over at the city corporation yard, the Corps is going to hold what they call an industry day, and they actually put it out in the Federal Register notice and in BizOps. They want to bring in not only the construction contractors but also consulting firms. They want to lay out for them all the work that they see coming and try to get a feel from them of what their capabilities are out there, and it falls in line with what Jason's been working on with one of the consultants that were approved to try to get a feel for what the capabilities are of the business world out there to actually handle all this work. So this just goes some of the steps that they're taking to try to get everyone prepared moving forward. So our role, the top three are our most important roles. That's obtaining the real estate, doing the relocations, and clearing out encroachments that are in the way of construction. So basically we have to get the property ready to be free and clear so that the Corps can do the constructions. They've also asked us, and we are helping them with a lot of the design work as we can get contractors going sooner than their process allows. There's also some other resources they requested, and actually one of the items that we're doing for them and for us is on the agenda today. That is renting some space in their building to have conference space and offices for our folks, for consulting folks, and for the state folks to work closely with them on some of these designs. So it's really actually it's probably it will be the busiest we've ever been, and the Corps is standing up a lot of teams and sub-teams more than we actually have physical capability to handle. So we're going to actually have to rely a lot on consulting forces. So we are preparing a resource plan that we will be bringing early next year to how we're physically going to cover all the meetings, how we're going to perform our duties as a sponsor, keep track of decisions, how we're going to keep ourselves informed, and meeting our commitments there. Just trying to put a little bit of a perspective on it. The $1.8 billion, if they build it in 5 years, that's an average of $360 million a year that they have to put in the ground. And actually, the way the schedules are looking, most of the construction is going to come in the last 2 or 3 years. And so we're going to see years with over $500 million from these two projects of construction going on around here. So that's a pretty significant increase. And then at the same time, we're still have $500 million in Natomas over the next 5 years that we're going to be putting in the ground. So we've got a lot of activities to do there. And then as far as our main one with them is, again, the real estate relocations and encroachment removal. So we are preparing a resource plan as to how we're going to cover that. We will be sharing it with the board early next year as we get the course schedule a little bit better. But we want to let us know and the board know estimated number of transactions that we need to take, general schedules to when they need to occur, and then if our current resources, how we're going to have to supplement those to get there. So just wanted to let you know that we are working very hard at making sure we can keep our commitments to help the Corps be successful in this. So mentioning Natomas, switching over to there, just giving a little update. They have been under construction on Reach D. That's along the Natomas Cross Canal at the very top. There is the Vestal Drainage Canal that needs to be relocated. They've been doing that excavation. They're actually buttoning it up for the winter right now. And it will be completed in 2019, as well as they're hoping to get all the pumping station work done next year. A little may slip into 2020, but that's the general goal on that one. Reach I Contract 1, that's the one down along the Garden Highway, that the one that Jeff has been working closely with the Corps and the city to help make happen. The first action that they're trying to do is a seepage blanket under I-5, where I-5 crosses over the levees there. We're not able to put a slurry wall in there, so we're doing a waterside seepage blanket. There's a city water line that needs to be relocated, and that it crosses also the Garden Highway there. So that is, they're working with, Jeff's helping work with the city and the Corps on getting a permit and what the traffic patterns would be to accomplish that. We're hoping to start that this year. We'll have to see whether they do, but the goal is to do most of the work next summer in 2019 on the 2 miles of cutoff wall, and then they may have to finish some of that seepage blanket next year if they don't get it done this year. Reach H, that's along the Natomas East Main Drainage Canal down at the lower end there. The solicitation went out in November. They're using the same process that they have on Reach I Contract 1, where they were tired of all the protests, so they went ahead and pre-qualified a number of contractors that have the capability of doing this type of work, and then they're doing a low bid among those that are pre-qualified. And it avoided the contracts, or avoided the protests so far, so they're hoping that we'll do the same on this one. Bid opening is scheduled for December 7th with award by the end of the calendar year. And so in 19 and part of 20 should be seeing 3 miles of cutoff wall on the lower end of the Natomas East Main Drainage Canal. And then Reach B, Congress has provided the funding. We're trying to get that ready to be awarded in 2019 with construction, probably most of that in 2020. That's the one from where on the Sacramento River, from where SAFCA got done with our construction. down a little ways down from Powerline Road to where you see where A starts. But most of that area will have an adjacent levee or berm with a combination of cutoff wall or seepage berm there. And we need to be able to certify the real estate in that area by 2019. So some of the actions that you're taking today and over the next couple of months will be getting ready for moving forward on Reach B. So that's all I had on those, but before I finish, I do want to introduce a new SAFCA employee. September of last year, the board approved us changing one of our positions over to an associate engineer, and so we have filled that position. I like Rena Jawanda to stand up, and she is our latest SAFCA employee. She comes to us from the state, and she is an excellent employee, so wanted to introduce you to her. I told her I wouldn't make her speak, so.
Well, welcome.
Unless you want her to, then we can make it. And that's all I had, so let's see if you have any questions.
No, that's great. So, Mr. Bassett, are you going to teach her everything you know?
What she wants. She knows what she's asking for.
All right, great, thank you.
Next up, we have consent matters, and items 2 through 6 are in order.
I have a motion by Mr. Holloway, second by Mr. Conant. All in favor?
Mr. Chair,
Oh, yep.
I'm sorry. I'm going to recuse myself from 4A.
So noted.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second for items B and C. All in favor? Aye. And we take item A separately. All in favor? Aye. Abstention, Mr. Kennedy on 4A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Separate matters, item 7, resolution number 2018-113, adoption of addendum number 5 to the final environmental impact report on the Natomas Levee Improvement Program Phase 4 Land Site Improvements Project.
Chair Abdas, members of the board, John Bassett, Director of Engineering. As the clerk read, this is asking the board to adopt an addendum to the Phase 4A EIR that was approved in 2010. The items that are included in the changes or modifications or refinements to the project would be to construct seepage berms only rather than cutoff walls and berms in Reach A. Adjusting the configuration of the woodland mitigation corridor and modifying the alignment of the relocated Riverside Canal to also include an underground pipeline between Radio Road and Farm Road. I'm going to switch to the section over here. Hopefully this mic will work. So this is a figure that was in the 2010 EIR. It showed a fairly wide corridor for the project levee and included additional canal and woodland corridor down into the Reach A area behind the ranchettes that are here. This is from the Phase 4A EIR. Figure 2, which I think you also have in your on the dais there in your packets, is from the 4B EIR, which continues that same fairly wide corridor and the canal coming behind the ranchettes. The change proposed today that the board would be approving is to go from a open canal in this area north of Radio Road and then switching to a pipeline south of Radio Road to the Farm Road location, getting rid of the canal section and the woodland corridor behind the ranchettes, widening the woodland corridor between the TMBC Cummings Marsh and Farm Road, and then using the seepage berms that are kind of shown in the hatched orange instead of the combination of the cutoff wall. So that is the modifications in the project that we're requesting that the board approve. In compliance with CEQA guidelines, the board is indicating that they have looked at the modifications, that the changes or refinements are not significant enough to require either a subsequent EIR or a supplemental EIR, and an addendum is the appropriate CEQA measure for that. So staff is requesting that the board adopt a resolution making those findings and approving the modifications to the project.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move the item.
Mr. Shaw with the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Item 8, resolution of necessity number 2018-114, authorizing an eminent domain action to acquire portions of Sacramento County Assessor's parcel number 225-0190-008 for the Natomas Basin Project. Property owners Ann Samiko Amioka as trustee of the Saiko Amioka Trust and Susan Chieko Kamamura as trustee of the Kiyoka Kawamura Trust. And for the record, this item needs a 2/3 or 9-member vote to pass resolution.
Again, Mr. Avdis, Chair Avdis, members of the board, as indicated by the clerk, SAFCA is proposing to acquire approximately 14.32 acres of land from the parcel in fee, a 0.15 acre area along the southern portion of the land as a water conveyance facility easement, and a 0.18 acre access easement along the eastern portion of the property. What the board is finding here is that the offer has been made to the owners as required by section 7267.2 of the Government Code, that the public interest and necessity require the project. The project is planned and located in the manner that will be most compatible with the greatest public good and the least private injury. And the property sought to be acquired is necessary for the project. The amount of compensation is not at issue in the proceedings today. So attached to the staff report is attachment A is a map of the Natomas Basin showing the Reach B area of the project. Attachment B is a map of the Reach B area close-up showing the Amioka Kawamura property and the area that would be acquired in fee and the remainder portion of that parcel. Attachment C is an aerial plat showing the fee acquisition area and the 2 easement areas. Attachment D is a cross-section that shows the improvements that will be constructed within the area that is acquired in fee, including the adjacent levee, the seepage berm, the O&M corridor, the woodland corridor, and the Riverside Canal pipeline corridor. Attachment E is a page from the construction drawings for the pipeline work showing the pipeline being along the southern portion of the property within the water conveyance facility easement. And then it shows the pipeline on the eastern side of the property on the adjacent parcel, and the access easement is necessary for the Natomas Mutual Water Company to access that pipeline and SAFCA and the Corps to construct it. Attachment F, F1, F2, and F3 are all details of the project description and the necessary for the acquisition. Attachment G is a letter report that identifies the specific needs for the woodland corridor in the Reach B area of the project. Attachment H is a letter that SAFCA sent the owners in May 2017, advising them of the project and indicating that we would like to have them sign a right of entry to allow the state and our surveyors to go in and survey the property. They did grant the right of entry. Attachment I is a letter from October 2017 to the owners indicating that the Corps had advanced the design of the Reach B project and that we would like to meet with them to discuss how the project would impact their property. Attachment J is a November 2017 meeting indicating that SAFCA had decided to appraise the property for the acquisition. That letter showed that SAFCA would be acquiring approximately 17.46 acres in fee on the property. Attachment K is a December 2017 letter in which SAFCA advised the owners that, as the owners requested in a December 28th meeting, SAFCA was reducing the size of the acquisition in the fee area, and that we would then need to acquire the water conveyance facility easement and the access easement instead of a portion of the fee area. Attachment L is the detailed diary of our acquisition agent showing all the different interactions that the agent has had with the property owners over beginning in May 2017 up until this month. Attachment M is the offer letter to the owner where SAFCA made its offer for the acquisitions that were necessary. The offer letter also indicated that SAFCA would reimburse the owners up to $5,000 if they chose to get their own appraisal of the acquisition. That was reiterated from the notice of decision to appraise, also included that offer for the reimbursement of an appraisal. Attachment N is a counteroffer dated August 20, 2018 from the owners, where they presented a counteroffer to SAFCA for the acquisition. Attachment O is a September 20, 2018 letter where SAFCA responded to the offer letter and provided the owners with a revised offer. Attachment P is an email that our acquisition agent received from the owner's attorney indicating that they expected us, that SAFCA, to acquire the property via an eminent domain action. Attachment Q is the notice of the hearing today, the letter dated October 26, 2018, advising the owners that they could come and be heard before the board. And then attachment R is a letter from the owner's attorney indicating that they had received the notice and they had some objections to the adoption of the resolution. So before the board is resolution 2018-114, authorizing the eminent domain action, the legal descriptions and a plat of each of the acquisition areas, the fee area, the water conveyance facility easement, and the access easement are all attached to the resolution. I can take whatever questions the board may have.
So a quick point of process here, Ms. Gilchrist. Because this is a public hearing item at this point, is it appropriate to take board comments, or should we open the public hearing, take any public comments, close the public hearing, and then have deliberation at the board?
The latter.
Okay. Okay, so because this is a public hearing item, at this point, I'd like to open the public hearing and invite any members of the public to speak on this item. Seeing that I don't have any speaker slips and don't see anyone that's interested in speaking on this item, I will close the public hearing item and open it up for deliberations amongst the board. I have Mr. Natoli.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Question, John. So in the attachments, we talk about the agricultural well, and there's a whole workup on what the cost would be to replace that. I assume that's a groundwater well, correct?
Agricultural irrigation.
Agricultural, but I mean
Yes.
groundwater, not, it doesn't
Yes.
pump from the river. But then you talk about somewhere here, from one of these exhibits to that, no need to replace it because they're going to have access on the remaining portion to district water. Now, are we replacing the pump and well? And then
The appraiser concluded that there was no need to replace the well because we had access to the Natomas Central Mutual Water Company distribution system from the Riverside system. SAFCA independently found that because the water company doesn't deliver water year-round, typically it's from May through the end of October, that if the owners wanted to have a small-size farm that they would need to irrigate during the winter in dry conditions like we have now, they would need the agricultural well to provide irrigation when the water company wasn't delivering water. So we agreed to the second offer that we wrote, the September 20 letter, included the cost to drill a new well.
so that's the $104,000 is on attachment 2 of, I don't know which one.
Yes.
And that would be for a similar size, or it'd be a smaller casing, smaller pump,
It's
or similar?
I
You're looking
think
for a
it's
submersible. This is above ground, so that you're...
right. The existing one is a deep well turbine pump with an above-ground motor and motor control center. The driller who would be outfitting the well had proposed to put it in a submersible pump instead of the deep well pump because it would. I think the actual casing is much deeper than the existing casing.
So, but that's part of our proposal to them.
Yes.
That is accounted for. And just a related item then, in the fee acquisition, because we're looking to reestablish the forested lands there or to establish them, that with the agricultural land value, does that take into account current farming returns relative to whatever is being grown there and what might be grown there, or is it just a straight land value, or is there some loss of income, recognizing that obviously the farm shrinks by a significant portion here, at least on this parcel? So
Yes, if you look at the revenue that the owner has indicated they get for the farming operations, it is much less than a investor could get if they took the proceeds from the sale, put those into any sort of a investment, money market or whatever. They would actually get more per year than the farming money is coming in. So, we believe that we have compensated the owner to put them in the same financial situation that they are right now.
So if I just understand it correctly, so there's some calculations here that the loss of income from commercial farm rental basically calculated into the land value and the overall appraisal. You replace the well, and then whatever would be the final settlement on that wouldn't be a bump up, but you're just saying that it factors that in, take the money and invest it, you're going to do better than if you were renting it to...
Yes, they indicated they get about $2,000 per year in income from the farming operation. If you took the value for the land, not including the cost of the well or whatever, put it in an investment, I think, it's a $60,000
bump. Yeah. I saw that you're at 130 versus 60. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to understand it
Over
correctly.
the 30 years, yes.
Right, over 30 years. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Natoli. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Member Nava.
Second.
Second by Member Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, next item.
Item number 9, resolution number 2018-115, authorizing the executive director to execute an exchange agreement with the Natomas Basin Conservancy regarding the exchange of real property required for the Natomas Basin project.
Chair Avdis, member of the board, John Bassett, Director of Engineering. In constructing the Reach B component of the project, SAFCA will need to acquire certain lands from the Natomas Basin Conservancy. In the past, we have just been able to pay them cash for the lands that were required because they had enough surplus in their land holdings to be able to accommodate losing that acreage. What they have told us recently is they don't have enough surplus land, so rather than paying them cash, we have to provide them with replacement property. So the exchange agreement would be to set up the arrangement by which we would make that transaction. I'm going to switch over here to the overhead again. So that, again, this is the Natomas Basin. We need to acquire a piece of property from the TNBC Atkinson tract, which we'll be using for woodland mitigation. This is up in Sutter County, as well as 2 properties down in the Reach B area in Sacramento County. Figure 2 here shows that we would be acquiring right now approximately 19 acres from the TNBC's Atkinson tract. Again, we would extend the woodland corridor that we have in the Rio Ramaza woodland area. And then on figure 3 here, we would need to acquire some property from the TNBC's Cummings tract, as well as a portion of the TNBC's Allegheny tract. What we propose to do is acquire the Matsumoto property, and this acquisition would be on the board agenda we're anticipating for December, and exchange a portion of the property that we acquired from Matsumoto for the acquisition that we need to make from Allegheny, Cummings, and the Atkinson tract. And those are approximately the same general parcel total acres that we would be acquiring from TNBC and then providing them with the replacement substitute property. So the resolution before the board was authorize the executive director to enter into an agreement for the exchange of the property for the Natomas Basin project. I can take any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett. Any questions by anyone? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Jennings. Second by Ms. Frost. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we're adjourned.